you want me to drive for you?
Sure. I think there's only like 6 slides anyway. So Rick was not able to be with us today, so I'm presenting for him. And I was on the committee as well as with George, our board member from Canada. And Rick is one of our Denver member. He's a board member from the Denver area. Okay. Next slide.
How do we?
Reverse slide.
Oh wait.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, it was a good one. I want to go there.
Okay.
All right, so these are our goals. The board, we structured a little differently this year, and we created committees with several board members on them, and then usually we broke it up into subgroups. And so the overall goal was to try to get move us forward in doing better communication with our members, conveners, friends, professionals, and the general recovery community. And the areas that we decided to focus on this year were branding, getting the newsletter back up and running, which had really died off. And so the goal was to try to start it quarterly, and hopefully in the future we could do it even more frequently than that. The member skills inventory, I think there were slides on each of these, I hope. And then fundraising, which we sort of allocated to our fundraising chair, Jenny, but also the board as a whole and other different pop-up groups talk about fundraising in general. Okay, so this was a separate and related pop-up committee to address our mission statement. I don't remember what it was before, but I know that several experts said it was actually not a mission statement. So there was a lot of discussion about the exact language of it, and the committee worked on it and brought it to the board once, and then we had some additional comments. I know at one point it was talking about us as an alternative, and we decided that's not really what we are. We want to emphasize what we are, not as in comparison to something else. And so this is what the mission statement is now that's been board approved and that will be used. Provide an abstinence-based, secular, and self-empowered addiction recovery pathway for our meeting and support network. And I know one reason we chose the pathway word was because of the discussions around multiple paths to recovery that's really sort of common terminology at this point, becoming more common. So that is, and I know it seems brief and simple and easy, but it took a lot of effort by the pop-up committee members to get it to be this tight and this focused and in language that everyone felt really represented what LifeRing is and what we do. The newsletter, and Rick was the real driver of this, getting the newsletter out. We've had 2 quarterly newsletters so far, and these are the general areas that we focus on: meeting updates, new meetings, changes of meetings, new conveners, LifeRing member profiles. One of the statements that was made at the conference last year was that the members don't really know who the board members are. They don't know our stories. They don't know, maybe we're not really in recovery. Maybe we never. They just don't know a lot about us. And so one thing that the newsletter is going to do is to try to highlight one of the board members going forward in each of the newsletters, so that people can get a real, more personal connection to us and really understand what our past have been to get to this point, and how we use LifeRing and why we're part of the board. LifeRing in the media, so time that we see articles being in Dear Abby, and please, forward us anything that happens in your local community. If anybody's interviewed, or they're on the news, or there's a mention anywhere, forward it back to us, and Rick will include that in the newsletter to let everyone know the word of mouth, and also it can be an example of the kinds of things that you might be able to do in your own community. Outreach efforts, and then fundraising. Those are sort of the general areas. Anyone that's interested in helping with the newsletter, I know that we would be interested in getting that help, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a skills inventory. But quarterly is good, but it would be nice if we can get back to monthly at some point. But we need a few more people to make a commitment in order to do that. Okay, member skills inventory. So we have talked a lot about how, the board can't do everything, and we have some non-board support, like Jenny is the prime example, and we do reach out to people we know at times, but we have a, large membership of people with many different skills, and so the thought is to really be able to have a way where people who are interested in potentially contributing to LifeRing board activities, committees, or even creating a project on their own, that we would know what our members do. And that if, for example, we have a newsletter and we need an editor, we would be able to find out who has those skills and send out an email. So filling out the inventory would be making any kind of specific commitment yet. It would be just letting us know to target, not a good word, sorry. To reach out to you. And see if you would have some time or interest in a particular project. And so this is, I'm gonna walk over here. So this is an example of one part of it, and this looks like it's mostly on the computer side, but I know some of the other areas are things like writing skills, editing skills, fundraising skills, project management skills, all of those different types of skills. So we will be issuing to the conveners and hopefully that they can also get it to their membership, the link to be able to go in and fill out the skills inventory. And then the inventory is going to download into a spreadsheet that can be sorted in any way that we need it, and we can find the people. Robert?
I sent Steve a PDF, LifeRing skills survey form, so you can put it up on the screen if you want to. The link is on the top of the home page of lifering.org, and the form will be up. I'll go through it.
And again, I know all these things within their dumb form, it seems obvious, but it's multiple iterations of discussions to get us to be able to get this up and running.
Google Docs, Steve. I sent it in that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Here it is right here.
Can you tell us a little bit about the picture, Maria?
Sorry. No, what's going on here? Sorry. Sorry, guys.
Should we just
Sorry, it's on my screen, it's just not showing it there.
Oh. Technical difficulties.
It stopped. 1 second.
Reinstall.
One of the things that people have mentioned off and on is pop-up committees, the pop-up committee for the mission statement, the pop-up committee for this, the pop-up committee for that, and then that's one of the areas where we have the skills. We do pop-up committees for specific projects, and so if we know the skills of the people involved, it can help us reach out and see if anyone wants to participate just in this pop-up committee that's going to have probably 4 meetings over 4 months, to work on this finite task. And so some things might be longer-term commitments, and some things might really be, 8 hours of your time over the next 4 months to help us work on a project. So the opportunities are not only can be varied, but they can also involve different levels of commitment depending on what time people have available. So yeah, grant writing, fundraising, interpreting translation, and that's, for example, Canada was interested in getting the books in French, and so we have a couple of those. Public speaking, marketing and advertising, project management, I mentioned, social media. Once we get all these basic pages integrated, we're going to need someone to really, post and manage and think about the strategy of what we want to put on different versions of the pages. And then a lot of technical skills like, web developing, graphics, writing and editing can be used in many different areas. Here's a bunch of the computer things, Excel, Access, and then it's just accounting and bookkeeping for the finance side. So just, we're going to encourage the conveners as well as to reach out to their members and see how many people we can get to fill these out. Again, filling it out doesn't bind anyone to anything. It's just so that we have that pool of resources as we need them. Next slide.
You're gonna distribute that, you said?
Yeah, we'll make sure that
The link is on the top banner of the LifeRing.org website right now.
And so if you know that, you can, talk to people at a meeting, but my guess is we'll do some kind of an email to really bring it to the convener's attention and encourage them to get people to fill it out. So one of the other things we really talked about is outreach at different types of professional conventions and organizations. And so I created a spreadsheet that listed a lot of the primary ones. What is the organization? Who goes to the conference? How many people are typically at the conference? Do we have speaking opportunities, tabling opportunities? Where are they this year? Because a lot of them travel around the country from year to year. Do we have meetings near that location? That's the ideal scenario, is if we already have a meeting nearby, so we have people that can go and table, and it's a little much less expensive for us if we have people that don't need to fly to the event, although we have done that. But it's really part of trying to figure out with our, limited funds, what's the sort of best bang for our buck to try to get our name out there more to the professionals and make them more aware of us. And so we have two on the potential horizon that are actually going to be in the Denver area in the next 6 months, and I assume the new board will talk about that in more detail. But we're trying to keep creating the list and trying to keep it updated so that each year we can make a conscious choice about where we may be able to go that's cost effective and still get our name out there more. Is that it?
That's it.
And then the other thing, do you have any questions about any of that before I move on to? And then the other big communications news, and Kathleen's going to come up and talk to us about that, is humanly possible.